polygamy. Yeah.
Now, in order for me to do that, I gotta be Muslim. I
Nah,
gotta take my Shahada.
you could be Mormon.
Huh?
You could be Mormon.
Mormon? No, I can't be Mormon.
Why not?
Them niggas don't watch TV. I need my TV. Oh, come on.
Believe it or not, you can actually be Christian too. It's in the Bible.
Get out of here.
It's in the Bible.
It's a lot of religions.
Wait. Tell me the Bible shit, cause
It's just y'all scared.
I believe that in our religion, it has got lost in translation, and I warrant what I'm about to say. People say, "Oh, that's in the Old Testament. This is the New Testament," and things like that. There are some high-valued men in the Bible that had a lot of favor from God by having multiple wives and multiple concubines. So you can't sit up here and say you want a man of God and not acknowledge the fact that, oh, in this society it's socially accepted, but in the Bible, when you talk about David, when you talk about Solomon, the wisest person in all of earth, he had the most wives anybody has ever had.
When the polygamy conversation comes up, Genesis 2:24 rarely comes up, but you can't have a polygamy conversation without having a Genesis 2:24 conversation. Genesis 2:24 must inform the conversation about polygamy. It says this: every man must leave his mother and father and cling to his wife, and they will become one flesh. This is the blueprint. This is the prototype for marriage. Male and female become one. Paul agrees with this. Jesus agrees with this. When Jesus quotes this passage in Matthew 19, he does not quote from the original Hebrew. He quotes from the Greek translation. And when he quotes from the Greek translation, it adds the number 2. So instead of saying they will become one flesh, it reads, and the 2 will become one flesh. Many scholars and commentators note that the addition of the number 2 is a commentary on the original Hebrew, and it is also a critique against polygamy being practiced in the first century.
Now, you probably know which word he's added. No, it's the word two. The word two isn't in any Hebrew manuscript. And no Jew is going to be fooled by that, but they know that this is the normal way. In the Targum, when they read out the Aramaic version of the Old Testament, they will add that word to. They always add the word to, because the diaspora Jews were very keen to say, hey, we shouldn't really be having more than one wife. There's only 2 people who become one flesh. Yeah, so Jesus is fully on board with other Jews who are saying there shouldn't be polygamy.
If Jesus had polygamy in his mind when he talked about marriage and divorce, then his strictness on divorce does not make any sense. His teaching is essentially this: get married, stay married forever. However, if polygamy is true, and if polygamy is what he had in mind, then there's a back door out of this commitment. What do I mean? My first wife, if I'm tired of her, all I got to do is add a second one. And if I'm tired of my second wife, I add a third one. If I'm tired of my third wife, I add a fourth one. I can't divorce her, but I can add a second and third to alleviate the pain that is in that covenant. This is why it falls apart. If you have a 2-member business contract, and this is the agreement, you can't add a third member without breaking the original contract. Polygamy is incompatible with marriage and Jesus' teaching on divorce.
But in the Bible, when you talk about David, when you talk about Solomon, the wisest person in all of earth, he had the most wives anybody ever.
So when you listen to pro-polygamists speak about this issue, they always think that we are throwing the patriarchs under the bus. You guys are disrespecting the patriarchs. Abraham was a good man. Jacob was a good man. David was a good man. No one's denying that. These guys were clearly used by the Lord God. What we are saying is that these guys are not the standard of morality. They are a standard of faith. This is what Hebrews 11 is about. Abraham by faith, Jacob by faith, David by faith, and so on. They are models of faith. They're not models of morality. We have to understand that when we come to these issues. So just because something is does not mean that we ought to do it. So in other words, just because we see a reporting of the facts does not mean that God is also supporting those facts. Reporting does not mean supporting. Just because the Bible reports that certain figures did polygamy or practiced polygamy does not mean that he supported that. Right? And we can say this about a host of issues, but stay locked in. I'm going to be putting out more videos on this particular topic. Until next time, grace and peace.